Hello, this is Nancy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm participating in this collab hosted by Krista's Crafty Life and Craftastic DIYs, and I'm working on some Christmas houses. The base of the Christmas house is a foam board from Dollar Tree that I cut down 13 by 13 because I'm going to be putting this inside my calyx unit. And the houses that I have here I cut with my Cricut, using a design that I bought from Design Bundles. The design has score marks, so I'm just bending them and making them more prominent, so when I start gluing these together it's easier to do together. I used regular cardboard for these houses, and I also used my Cricut Explorer Air 2. But if you had a maker, you could probably make them out of chipboard and make them more sturdier. These cutouts don't have a front door, so I'm cutting one of the windows down to make a front door. But if I thought about it in design space, I would have done that slicing, cutting, and welding in there to make it easier for me. But just think about that before you start cutting it out on your cardboard. Do those changes. Same thing with the back there with the arch. That's for a tea light, and I would have just probably covered it up with more windows and taken that one out as well. But I just covered it up with cardboard after I cut it up. Type of cardboard, I'm cutting 1/8 inch strips. I'm going to be using this for some siding on the first house. And an afterthought, it really doesn't make a big difference. It does give it more sturdiness, but it does more work than you need to do. Once I started it, I had to finish it, of course. I couldn't leave a project half done and continue with the next one. So I did continue gluing these strips down and then cut the openings out. I use my knife, my X-Acto blade, to cut the openings out. It takes a long time, so if you want to skip this step, you can. All you gotta do is just paint the house, or do something else to cover make it some siding. I'm not. Maybe you have an idea what I could have used for siding here without having to cut the windows out. Leave that in the comments below. flip it to the back side, and I start cutting out the openings from the back side. Like I said, you don't have to add this siding. You could just cut the house and just paint it. But you know me, I like details, and small stuff makes me happy. So I just sat there listening to some YouTube and just started cutting all these little pieces out. Like I said earlier, this is a collab hosted by Krista's Crafty Life and Craftastic DIYs, and it's for Dollar Tree houses. But I decided to do mine out of cardboard, recycle. So I did use a lot of Dollar Tree supplies, the foam board, some of the bottle brush trees, the lighting. You'll see in some parchment paper. You'll see that in a future video. But check out the playlist below, and check out their channels and subscribe to those channels. Pretty awesome stuff. Things are cut. I mix some Waverly chalk paint and crimson with a little bit of black to give it a deeper color. And it's not perfect, but it came out pretty decent. So I'll keep on mixing until I get the color that I want. I'm not gonna show you the painting. You know how I just use my brush and painted the cardboard. Now I'm using some 65-pound cardstock, and I'm cutting it into 1/16-inch strips to do some framing around the windows and doors. And using my art glitter glue, I put it into this precision tip bottle, so it's easier because I have a 16-ounce bottle that I pour into here. Plus, with the precision tip, with the small pieces of cardstock like this, you don't want too much glue coming out. So I glue the strips all around the windows and doors, or door. I only have one door. On the front here, I did the framing around each individual window, and after I did these 3 windows, it's a little too much work. So in the future of the video, or later in the video, you'll see how I start changing the siding. It still looks good. It's just less cutting. Because later on I'm going to use some Waverly chalk paint in white and color, paint those. I keep on saying color, and paint those I guess mullions on the inside, because imagine trying to cover that with a little paper. So I just paint that with the white paint. using some double-sided tape. This is also from Dollar Tree. And I'm adding it around the windows because I'm going to be using some parchment paper, also from Dollar Tree, to put behind the windows here to make them frosted, so you don't see the inside of it. From the tape, and I'm just laying the parchment paper and then cutting it out. That way you don't have a lot of waste, because sometimes you overcut sometimes, so this way you have the right amount. Once the two sides are done, I'm gonna start gluing them together. Again, using my art glitter glue. It's pretty strong. I'm using a little not triangle, square here, to make sure that the when I glue them together, the edges are 90 degrees. I'm going to be adding a couple holes, because I'm going to be putting lights coming up from the bottom through the foam board to light the house on the inside. So I'm adding my own porch. So I'm cutting a piece of 1/4 inch dowel here, and I'm making it to the height of the window there, or the door, the front door. And we're gonna add a little porch to this little house. And I'm gonna cut a piece of cardboard. That's the width of the house and the length of the width of the house, of course, and then about 1.5 inches past the house to add the porch. I'm using the houses from Design Bundles as a starting point. You can change the look of these houses with anything that you want, like a wraparound porch, or make it wider. Like I said, it's easy probably to change the style and design space before you cut it. In the comments below, what would you add to your house besides a front porch like I'm doing? I used some pipe cleaners and some puffy paint to make some wreaths to add to my windows. I didn't use the cardboard that was cut with the pattern of the house. Instead, I cut some chipboard, which is thicker, and I cut a piece the same size. And then with the cardboard, I cut some scallop pieces for the shingles of the house. I was gonna use popsicle sticks, but it was too out of scale compared to the rest of the house because of the thickness, and it just didn't look right. So these shingles were the perfect size and shape and thickness. It's a lightly textured acrylic, and then the 2 coats of that. I cut the piece of me gluing the roof to the house. I just hot glued it because the angle, you couldn't see me doing it. So now using some lightweight spackling from Dollar Tree and adding some snow drifts here and there around the roof of the house and on the porch. You can add as much as you want or as little as you want, or not at all. All up to you. And I did raise some pieces of the foam board on the back and on the side there, and I added some layers to give it sort of like a hilly effect, and added some spackling on that as well. And I'm also using the Dollar Tree snow and Mod Podge to add on top of that. Now to the second house. Instead of completely covering up that archway, which is the area for the tea light, I'm gonna make a couple of doors and make this into a barn instead of a house. So I'm gonna have the barn doors slightly open, so that way when I put lights inside, you can still see lights coming from the door. And here I am changing my blade on my little Dollar Tree knife box cutter. I don't know if anybody knows how to do this, but just a quick tip on how to do it. Just be careful because it's a long blade. Again, don't forget the playlist is listed down below, along with the hosts links to their channels. And if you're liking this content, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, comment below. What colors would you paint your houses? And how many houses would you put on your little village? And if you haven't subscribed, I'm trying to get to 5,000. I'm at 4,200 something. So you guys are helping me get there. So thank you very much. Now we're going to paint this house, and I'm using the Waverly chalk paint and moss with a little bit of black to make it a little darker. And my tip is when you paint cardboard, it starts to buckle. And what I did is flip it to the other side and paint the back side as well, and that tends to flatten it out. And now I'm cutting strips of the 16th inch to make some the framing for the windows here. Using the same strips, I'm framing the doors, and I'm doing the little barn X in the middle as well, so that way they look like little barn doors. These houses, they can be made in any shape or color to suit your decor. You can make them all white as well if you want an all white village. So this is just some inspiration, and I hope I'll give you some great inspiration to start with. Again, before I glue these pieces together, I'm adding some lights to the outside of the barn. So I'm using my crocodile to punch holes for when I put the lights inside this barn. I'm using the 3/16 hole on here, and it's the perfect size for the Dollar Tree lights. Here I'm cutting down a skewer, the sandwich size ones, to put along the top of the doors, and I'm using the Sharpie to color it and making it the track that the doors roll on. Now that we'll finish with the barn, we're going to lay it onto our base, and where the little holes are, I'm gonna use my pencil and poke a hole through the foam board, and then glue the base down to the house to the base. And again, I'm just using art glitter glue. I did a little smiley face there. I don't know if you've noticed that. Now I'm adding the lights under the foam board into the holes that I made at the bottom of the barn. I made the roof to the barn the same as the house, and now here I'm adding some more spackling to add the snow effect to the roof. I'm using some asphalt pattern paper to add a little road in between the house and the barn. And I had only a 6x6 sheet, so I had to cut little pieces, but I had enough to do it. So I'm using some Mod Podge to glue it down. The little cottage people I use and the little snowman is from Dollar Tree, and they turned out to be the perfect size. That wasn't even planned. So I added a little father carrying some wood and a little kid, and again a snowman. And until next time, be brave, be strong, and create a snowy town. And check out the final reveal at the end.